topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're welcome back to Setting It Straight with Miss Gray. Tonight, Miss Gray is not here, but you still have my girl Trey from Round the Way in VA.
Hey.
And we also
How you doing?
Great, darling. Just great. Starting this new year out with a bang. That's what we're doing. And I appreciate our how they say, our ghost DJ that's having our back and making sure everything is straight as we touch base with everyone that we can reach via whether you walk with us tonight or you come back later and be able to see it. He said, hey. Well, tonight we are starting our segment tonight on spiritual mentoring or natural mentoring. Which one could be better? But I don't think I do know there is a better one, which is the spiritual mentoring. But there's not I ain't gonna say there's nothing wrong with natural mentoring, but in the spiritual realm, we had where Jesus was mentoring Moses as he continued to mold and shape Moses, and then it trickled down to Joshua and then Caleb. So he was an obedient man, listening to God, but yet fighting for his people as well, because he went to make intercession for his people quite often. And as we read his word, we know that God was mentoring him, because who could give him the knowledge and understanding of the things that he did, like walking the people through the Red Sea? That ain't nothing but God. That for the people to never go hungry, that ain't nothing but God. In wilderness for 40 years, that ain't nothing but God. As he said in his word, that your sandals never got worn. You were always taken care of. You were always seen about. God mentored through Moses, but people don't realize how God carry us today, how he's mentoring to our ministers, the great ministers that are giving us insight and understanding of God's word as we continue to read and study. It's just amazing to see all those great things as it goes forth. But then we also have our natural mentoring. I don't think there's nothing wrong with natural mentoring, because in a lot of situations we need that. You know, every young man needs to hear from a man to help him guide and direct him as to being a real man. Every young lady needs to hear from another lady who has went through life and may have had some challenges, but try to educate them to know which path or which direction or who voice to listen to. It's so many great things with mentoring. Mentoring can be a great tool for a young person coming up, as well as for that adult person that takes on that responsibility. But at the end of the day, sometimes we do have to ask the natural mentor, are you doing it from your heart, or are you just doing it for show? Which one is it? Because we know God mentored Moses because he had a heart for his people, Israel. But what do our natural mentoring is developing? Is he trying to build a relationship with a young man, or building a relationship with a young lady to guide them through, that they try to prevent them from making some of the same mistakes that they made, turning down this going down this winding road that can be that can turn another way? What you say, Trey?
So I'm gonna jump in right quick, Tommy. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So I think with the natural mentoring, I think you hit it on the head. It's I think sometimes people end up mentoring someone, especially if it's a male seeing a young man or a
Mm-hmm.
boy astray, and could relate to some of the issues that
Mm-hmm.
that child is going through, whether it be not having a father present in their life, whether it be having been grown up in foster care, whether it made poor decisions and hanging out with the wrong crowd. And I
Mm.
think a lot of times people, it's when it's natural, it's almost like I think people have a heart for it because they feel that they can get to that particular child or children with whom
Mm-hmm.
they want to mentor. And sometimes it seems like it will be easier when you say, I know I can make a difference. I know I can make a difference. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, because that child also has to be receptive to getting the help. But I think a lot of times you can have bonding activities. Just it could be just over a soda, or just a general chit chat. Doesn't have to be anything formal to kind of see where the child's head is. What are you going through? If you need somebody to talk to, just let me know. And I think once a child sees that you really care and you're consistent, they will open up to whomever. And a lot of times, sometimes mentoring crosses over. So sometimes you have males that mentor females that can get to them a little better because maybe the female doesn't have a father figure in her life or doesn't have a positive male role model in her life, and they can adapt and listen to the other person, and vice versa with the boys to females. And sometimes adults need mentoring. You have some adults that just just can't get it together and don't know where to turn. So sometimes you might have a young adult that can gravitate to either one of their peers, who they see have done well, and kind of figure out, look, how did you do that? How did you get to this point? What were the steps you had taken to get from point A to point B? Can you show me how to do it? And so those are some of the things I would consider as natural mentoring. And a lot of times people don't want to take on something
Mm-hmm.
extra unless I think their heart is in it, as far
Right.
as the natural mentoring goes. And I'm not quite sure. There's some people that could take advantage because you have some kids or some other people who are well to do, whether or not they're playing a professional sport, who
Mm-hmm.
still need guidance. Just because you're playing a professional sport does not mean that you have it all together. Whether that's learning how to spend your money, recognizing the people who are around you while they're around you because they just like you, or because of what they can get from you, or what you can buy from them. So it's all different types of mentoring. But I think the original goal, or the goal is to try to help someone make a difference, and maybe not go down the path that person who is doing the mentoring has gone down.
Yeah, because like today in life, like you said, an older person can be mentored. They call those life coaches, and they could be such an eye changer for I think when you're a young adult or an adult that's going through or trying to get started in a certain area. They have what we call life coaches, and they have been down that path, and they know the struggles and the triggers and all that comes with it. So yeah, and then a lot of life coaches get paid to do this, so it's a form of income, or their how you said, that's how they make their bread and butter these days. So
They're business entrepreneur. Hmm.
right, so and how they say the word spread. Oh, he brought me out of this, he taught me this, and he or she, taught me these special skills to help me. And it continues to cycle to these life coaches that speak to, whether it's young or old, it doesn't matter. But when we think of a mentor, we think of young men and women that are high school, middle school age, young, that need some form of knowledge, preparing them for life to come, preparing them to go off to school, preparing them after they finish college or whatever, and going into their careers and so forth. So, I mean, mentoring has such a broad spectrum now that um, it's not a bad thing. It can be a great thing, and it can be something good for somebody that's been hurting. So often our kids get knocked down for just the little things, wherein the teacher might say, well, you're not going to amount to anything, or you're not going to do this, that, and the other. And a mentor will take on that heart and say, you know what? You better than this. What she say, show her you're better than this, because you can do this, you can do that. And they give them those directions to how they make themselves better. And like they say, I think personally, when you mentor and you've been mentored, it's, let's pay it way for that next child, like you said, that see, wow, that was me once upon a time. I could connect with this young man, I can connect with that young lady. And it is, and me personally, that have spoken and talked to young people along my way, it's a good feeling to feel when you've helped a child or a young adult to not make the same mistakes you made. You know, it's a good feeling. And I think we all, at some point in our life, can mentor, whether we've had a great life or not. We can help that person not go down that same path that we've gone down. So,
And I think too, Tommy, it's also exploring the consequences and the
mm,
benefits of actions. And so being able to have dialogue, if you continue to do this, what are the potential consequences of the
mm,
acts, the negative acts that you're doing? Well, first, I think maybe start with the bigger picture, not necessarily what your goals are, because sometimes when you say, what are your goals, people, it's like, I don't know. So sometimes you have to break it down. What is your dream? What is the dream for your life? And work it that way. Okay, well, in order for you to have this, what needs to take place? And so it could be, okay, maybe the dream would be to go to college. Okay, let's take that. For to go to college, okay. So for you to go to college, what does that mean? You're going to have, certain grades. You're going to have to start disciplining yourself. So if you don't like school, if you don't like to be in a class, you can't get being truant, absences, those things show up because colleges look at that. What pretty much when you do the application, what is your personality? What is your MO? What are you made of? And so, they might ask particular things like that. So that time, especially junior high, middle school, they call it now, high school, is time to really start getting yourself together. And I know the middle school sector is rough because that's when you're trying to figure it out, who you are, what do you want to be, and you have all these influences, and you want to be with the in crowd, and they're doing this and that, and it's hard to kind of stray away from it because no one wants to be ostracized. Nobody wants to be teased and bullied about what they're not able to do. But also, a good mentor would try to do some other things, kind of get into their head and say, look, if you get in trouble, how many of those people are going to come see you if you get locked up? Or if you get sick, how many of those people are going to come and do that? And really, your friends, would a good friend allow you to do something that's inappropriate or negative? Involve you in that. So, identifying what makes a friend. And so I think with the high, if you're trying to go to college, also, what is your dream? What do you want to be? And exploring, okay, if you want to, let's go places like this so you can see what they actually do or talk to someone in that field. So it's prepping step by step, and it doesn't have to be intimidating. It can be informal. It doesn't have to be formal. It can be just with a conversation. Hey, I know somebody in this line of work. You want to talk to them? Sure. And then they get let's line up some questions. What do you want to ask? And then preparing them like that. Because sometimes if you have a lot of noise in your ear, you can't hear any of that. You don't have silence. You don't have a way to kind of think. You don't know where to start. It can kind of deter you and distract you. So those something like that is a good mentoring program will be good. And just also too, Tommy, some mentoring programs involve spirituality in it. You know, so that would some people are spiritual and not necessarily forcing religion, but do you have a belief? Because sometimes with the clients I work with, I can't force religion on them. But what are some of your coping skills? And sometimes they say pray. Well, I said prayer is good. If that's what you feel is going to help you feel better, or going to church, or linking to your pastor, those are good things. But I can't say, okay, you need to go into a church. They have to initiate that. And
Yeah,
then if they say that, use that to their advantage.
and some of them are faith-based, so they have good people that have done great things in their life where they may not started out at the top, but they worked their way to the top. And so those are very good mentors. That is where you want that person to be and be a part of. And it's so many great faith-based mentoring ships that are around. I enjoyed my daughter. She was in a faith-based mentoring program, and they had fun. They enjoyed. They were not always in the church. They did community service, whether it be indoor, outdoor. I know they used to do community service with our youth church every year. That we used to give them a banquet round Thanksgiving. I mean, around Valentine's, and they would always cater to them. They would cater. They would serve them. They would do whatever it takes to make sure our little kids had a great time and enjoyed themselves and get the little trinkets that they would, get from when they would participate. But I mean, when you have a faith-based mentoring ship, it's supposed to broaden your horizon. It's supposed to let you see outside of the box you're in. And that's the beauty of mentoring, is taking them out of the norm, or taking them out of the environment that they're in, to show them there's a better, or there's a cleaner, or there's a nicer way that you can enjoy life without going through it the hard way. You know what I'm saying? I always have to fight your way to this and fight your way there. Wherein mentorship, hopefully, it opened doors for you to see something different or something that you're not common to. Or it's just like mentoring can take a kid and learn different cuisines of food, realizing, oh, this is not bad. And who knows, it might sway them in the form of culinary, where they learn to cook, or it can open up a door for them for culinary because they may like to cook, but they don't have that opportunity to do that. And it's just so many broad avenues that can be opened up with mentoring. And yeah, I'm going to say I'm an advocate for mentors because we so need this in our country today, that our kids need strong, good, and if they're spiritual based, then perfect. Because I would love to see children being mentored by more spiritual based people, because of the fact it's so many out here that can teach you the wrong way, and they call themselves a mentor. And it's not, it doesn't help build the community or build that person's social skills up. Sometimes it makes them mad, mean or bad. And unfortunate, the kids sometimes go through some hard things, that's what gangs open their doors and open them in. Gangs are a form of mentorship, whether we realize it or not. You have to go through what it takes to be part of that gang, but they take you in like a brother or sister. And meaning that they might not mean well for you, or they there to get certain things um in their way, or have the numbers or the magnitude to overtake. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, they mentoring too. It's just that unfortunately, they work on those that are needing somebody to care for them. They're needing somebody to listen to them. They're needing somebody to just show, okay, well, if you do this, I got your back here. If you do that, I'll see that this happen for you. That's why I say all natural is not the best. But at the end of the day, that person needed somebody, and that person needed somebody to care about them, and they will show that. So we have to be careful in those that we allow to mentor our children or our brother or our sister. And sometimes we just end up allowing them to get caught up in things that just not the best for them. But that's where, my prayer life gets strong, praying for those that are being led down the wrong way, or feel that because, just like the little young kid that shot his teacher, you know, did she say something wrong to him? Did she rub him the wrong way? What has he been watching on TV or whatever to say, I'm gonna straighten that out, because she ain't gonna do that to nobody else? And they go and shoot him. Where he probably needed somebody to hug, somebody to talk positive to him, to understand him. And sometimes that's where our parents advocate for us and go in and talk to the teacher and say, you shouldn't talk to my son or my daughter like that, because this is what he's being taught. This is what we're saying at home. And sometimes what that teacher said, and teacher has a great effect on children. Because remember back in the day when the little kids would come home, or either you or myself come home and say, but my teacher said. and your parents trying to tell you, well, you can do it this way. No, but my teacher said. They are true mentors, whether they realize it or not, whether they care to be or they just there for a paycheck. They are mentors. They affect young lives in one way more than others. And it's just, we have to be careful because I think sometimes, and not all of them, but just a few of them that have happened like this, there's an act that cause them to react, and that has to be done on, like you said, you in the social services, you have to ask that question: what made you do this? And a lot of time is, well, she said, or he did, or that happened, they laughed, they thought I was funny and I was serious. They need somebody to hear them out, not, like you said, not bully, but just hear them out. See what's going on. Why do they feel that way? And it's just so, a mentor can go a long ways right then and there. And that's when, and those situation happens, that's when a gang will come in and say, well, we got this, man. Girl, we got this in our gang. If you come initiate da 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 da, we got you. You could have this and you can have this, or we go steal it and you will have that. We have to watch where the mentoring is coming from. We have to watch who's giving direction. We have to watch what we're allowing ourselves to hear or allowing our kids to hear or see. Because mentoring is it's a ministry tool, whether you look at it or not. It's definitely a ministry tool, because mentoring is pouring into someone's life. Mentoring is giving confidence. Mentoring is giving that child or that adult the confidence of knowing, I can possibly do this, or this might be here what I need to go ahead. And it gives that confidence that they step out of their box to go do what they do. Am I right, Miss Trey?
Man, you are so dead on, Miss Tommy. You are so dead on, and I look at it. You're so right as far as like the mentoring part, as far as like with the gangs and stuff. Grooming them to be a member of the gang. But I also look at too, the role of the coaches on different uh, teams, football, the influence that they have on the players, because everybody wants to, they aspire to be the best, whether they want to go on the pro or not. But that coach pretty much has it. If you don't do this, I'll bench you. Or if you got to work out and you got to, run the laps, you got to, make sure you are in a curfew, because, so they have curfews at certain times, especially game night, night before the game, you got a curfew. And so they have so much control or power or authority, not in a bad way, over the players, because the players want in return to be recognized, to get playtime, because that's the goal. And so imagine if you can implement and instill a lot of stuff through sports. And then a lot of parents show up for sports. You have a lot of males, and you have females too. You got the sports moms. But when those dads show up, you got them. You got them. And that's an opportune time. I don't know if anybody's listening. There's an opportune time for the sports arena to get together to make improvements in the community. Whether it be, talking about communication, how managing your anger, because when you're out there hitting and stuff, you're releasing a lot of stuff, a lot of frustration. A lot of stress could, through working out and so but you could find arenas to talk about an array of things, character, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the coaches do. I'm pretty sure they probably do, but you don't know. Every person is different. They might not, and it depends on the arena. Depends on the location, whether it's a school, whether it's a regular public school, a private school, or a religious Catholic school, or faith-based school. Everybody
Pop
has their
Warner,
own differences, huh?
the Pop Warner programs, the AAU programs, all of that.
Yeah, those are opportune times to try to grab and get a hold of the players and stuff. And you'd be surprised, you could probably implement a whole lot of stuff, presentations and workshops um, to betterment, because there's more to sports than just playing the sport. You got to be mentally right, emotionally right. You have to be physically right to be able to endure a whole lot of that stuff. And so, but it can also make you a stronger person and discipline. So if you're playing a sport, it teaches you discipline and structure and rules, and following the rules and understanding that when you mess up, you get a foul, or you get a tech, or you get a loss of downs, or there are consequences for behaviors. And here we go again, talking about consequences of a behavior. And benefits are of doing well and being structured. You could probably win the game. You could probably walk out there as MVP. You could probably walk out there, winning a state championship and getting the accolades. So there are consequences and there are benefits. So I think, mentoring programs and mentoring is a great thing. And you got people that mentor in business. So if you're aspiring to be like a realtor, or insurance, or a business owner, you have people that mentor that. And well, of course, there's you have to take some. Sometimes people charge for it, but if you're in a program where you get some of the grooming and learning how to do, that's mentoring as well.
And too often, here, I know, like you said, in real estate, I know there's certain programs in real estate, you have to stay under somebody for a year in order to be able to apply for your own personal license in whatever that area might be. So that is a form of mentoring um at an older level. You may not be 23 or 24. You may change your whole um career, and you could be as 40 going on 50, just depending on where that turning point comes to. Because I mean, here lately with the pandemic, there's a lot of women that have taken to the truck driving, where they might have been what we call a blue collar or a white collar worker, got laid off. They took the education and the training and became truck drivers. So, mentoring can be such a broad and wide, but yet great and productive and strong device for almost anyone. Anyone. I mean, I've heard older ministers say, "This was my mentor," you know, teaching me and showing me the proper way to pray, the proper way that I can get into my studies and learn from book to book to book and how the word moves around. That is so important. Mentoring is just, like I said, it ranges from your youngest of young to your oldest of old. There's no um nobody that does not or cannot be mentored. Now granted, you do have folks that don't want to listen to somebody. You do have folks that say that they know everything, but when they fall and they realize they fall, they turn around and go get educated. And at that point of educating, like I said, that teacher, like you said, that coach, they're mentoring. They're mentoring. I mean, just like, I remember watching the Williams girls when they were coming up, the different coaches their dad had them being mentored on. He was very specific with who was mentoring his girl because he knew there were greatness in them. But a lot of times there needs to be a coach that can bring that greatness out of them. And that's what it takes to recognize that everyone can be a mentor, whether you want it or not. Because some people teach you and mentor you and they don't realize that's what they're doing. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they are.
And I think too, when you were talking about the Williams sisters, the dad knew that he could get them to a certain point. And then once he reached a point where that was his expertise, then he probably passed it on to someone else, which he still was like guiding them, because he was a trusted person that got them started in the first place. And so, but also too, mentors need to know what your limits are. If you are not able to do this, that, and the other, be honest with it. And that's part of mentoring, to let them know it's okay to not know everything. Because people would rather hear, I don't know the answer, but I will find out for you, or help you find out the answer. And they would appreciate that. So, I know that. I know that. No, everybody doesn't know everything. And then you're teaching that mentee to learn and listen and to explore and to find answers and to say the same thing to somebody else. I don't know it all. Let me find out for you. And that's how you rely on others' expertise. So, like I said, with what I do, I don't do therapy. The stuff we do is therapeutic. And so when it comes to the counseling about past traumas and stuff, no, let's get an outpatient therapist for that. Because that's what they do. And I can help you find the outpatient therapist. I can accompany you to the appointment. I can provide input on what I see, but that's not my expertise. And so people appreciate that. Let the people that are experts in that handle what their expertise is.
I agree with that because I mean it's funny you say that because just the other day I've been in healthcare for over 20 something years. And I've been taught by some of the best nurses ever. And they mentored me because they taught me some things that I didn't realize I could realize. And they kept saying, I'm going to make you a nurse. I'm like, no, you're not going to make me a nurse, but you can give me the education of a nurse. I ain't want that. But it was funny the other day, my godmother called me and she asked me, well, what do you do for I said neuropathy.
Uh-huh.
And I said, whoa. I said, that's above my education level. Let me give you a resource of who would know that. It is better that I give you a resource to know where you can go and get that understanding or get that knowledge that you need for whatever that situation is. And you're right. You gotta know your boundaries. You got to. It ain't no such thing as a know-it-all. But at the same time, oh well, you know what? I got a resource person to let me direct you to this person because that's what they do, or let me put you in contact with so and so and so because that's what their company do. you know that's what and that's the beauty of mentoring, is when you not only don't know it, but you're able to give directions where you can achieve that knowledge. And it is so important to know when you can receive that particular knowledge from where you should be receiving it. not from somebody that don't know and well, maybe or possibly, well, this could work, but I don't know. But that, well, let's try this. Some things you can't try. You gotta let the experts that handle that tell you directions to go. Sometimes you might have to read up on a book to figure out some directions. Like when you're putting something together, I need a direction book. I don't need nobody to tell me put left, right, and then this go here. I need direction. I'm disciplined like that. But some people say, well, I figure, oh, I have to take that loose and put it back because that didn't go here, that didn't go. I ain't doing all that. I need my direction. Mentor me in the direct way I should be mentored. And a directional book will help me get where I'm going. And sometimes we need that. But at the end of the day, when a person can tell you, well, wait a minute, I don't know that, but let me give you who do know that, or who can give you the answer, or who can direct you to your answer. I think that's one of your best mentors right there, because you don't want to know it all. You want somebody that will help you learn how to retrieve all the information you need to get for where you're trying to go. Not say, well, let's try this. Yeah, we can try it. But if it failed, then who you going to look at? Well, I thought you knew what you were doing. And come to find out, they don't know anything. When as they say, perpetrating a fraud. That's what we call that, perpetrating a fraud. But you don't want a fraud. You want somebody that's going to give you direction or put you in line with the right people at the right time, such as this. And you'd be surprised when you have somebody that give you directions when it's needed most, and it actually puts you where you need to be at that time, because a lot of time things happen, doors open, and that mentor help you get to that point of where that door opens and make it possible for you to advance or go to the next level. And they're not intimidated by allowing you to go to the next level. I think one of the greatest gifts of God He have given me is where I see my girls going to the next level above me. Because that lets me know, Lord, thank you. You gave me good directions that I passed on to them, that they can go to the next level. They didn't just depend and wait on me. They went on to that next level. What you say, Trey?
I mean, yeah, listen to that's good too. But I was also thinking too about setting boundaries. So before you start mentoring, someone, you have in your mind or set what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, because you don't want to set that person up for failure. So and I say, for instance, you know try in your mind the process. Why am I going to mentor this person? Is it because I want them to see them to do better? What doing better, does that mean giving them money when they need money, or giving them money when they just ask for money? What are the boundaries, and then what is the cutoff point? So if the situation arises, say, hey, um, hey, let's go get something to eat. I'll buy you something to eat. Nothing wrong with that. And maybe we'll go to maybe McDonald's and get something to eat. But the next time, if the person you met, I'd like to go out to eat, and I want to go get a steak. Okay, then what is it turning into? You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got you the McDonald's, but then if you start progress, so what is your limit? What is your cutoff point? You got to set boundaries, because you're going to set that person up for failure if you continue to just give in, get in. You're struck. Look, this is what I'm here to help you with. You can talk to me about your problems. issues. I'll listen to you. I'll tell you that I went down the same path, or I know some people that went down the same path, and this is what the consequences were, yada yada yada. But you don't want to set yourself up. Look, are you going to put them? If they need a place to live, are you going to do that? Or if they need some clothes, are you going to do that? Or link them up to places that do donations. So you have to go in with a clear mind of what you will and will not do. And even if you loan money, look, I'll do it for you this time, but I'm not in the habit of loaning money. I'm doing this so we can you can get some woosah time. We can talk, you can kind of feel me out, see if what I'm trying to do to help you. But this is not going to be all the time. This is not going to be that, And you have to set your limits when you do that, when you're working with folks, to make them understand, and they'll appreciate that. They'll appreciate your honesty. But some folks will try you, but you're gonna have to be prepared to be tried. And what are you gonna do about when they try you? Not You don't have to be nasty about it. So look, I said I will help you with this, but that's if you need resources, let's find some resources to do this, that, and the other thing. You know. So that's my take on that.
And you know what? That's a great direction of setting the boundaries, because too often kids and some adults take the form that you my money bag, or all I gotta do is ask so and so, they'll get it for me. That's what they do. And it's not all about that. It's all about what you can learn. And then some people come in the aspect of, they'll do what I ask them, or I'll tell them, and then they'll do it. And mentoring is not about being your cash draw. Mentoring is by imparting, good knowledge and understanding how you to get where you're trying to go. And that's so vital important for all mentees to understand that. This is not your money bag. This is to help you get where you're trying to go. And that is so, so important. And it's often that, spiritual as well as natural will fall in the aspect of being financial. So you just have to be careful.
And I think too, piggybacking on you, and I know we're about to wrap this up in a few, that our time is winding down. But just teaching them, look, I'll teach you to fish instead of giving you the fish. If you want to have extra money, let's see if we can figure out how you can earn some extra money. Let's go rake some leaves, pick up some trash in somebody's yard. Take the groceries in, or just figure out some ways that you can earn extra cash legally in order to do that. Hey, if you're good at this skill, hey, maybe create this and sell it. I'll help you try to do that. Link up to someone that's in business and show you how to do that. So therefore, you're not going out asking folks for stuff. And so that's part of too, I think, mentoring. Teaching you to be a better self, to find yourself, and learning of your strengths and your talents. So and I think a good mentor will do that because they can talk from their experience.
Right. And we're going to leave out on a great note to all our football fans, knowing that Damar Hamlin has been transferred back to New York. Yay! Yay! We know that God has got his hand on him and bringing his healing about. So we just want to say thank you. We look for you to see you next time. Same place, same channel. Or you can go see us there on YouTube. We just look forward to your continued support for Setting It Straight with Miss Gray. And I thank you all. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next week, next Monday. Miss Gray will be back.
Yay! And please like, share, and comment. Please like, share, and comment.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much.
Have a good one.
All
Thank
right,
you.
good night, everybody. Bye.